Portal Black. Domino Effect.
Podcast. How the heck are you today?
I'm good.
Okay.
This is the music that bomba. This is something that we don't play a lot. We need to play that.
A lot of people don't know what it is. And they don't know the connection between that music and the basic country in which they came from. That is a mixture of African rhythms and native and whatnot. They try to say that there's some kind of European sound to that too, but it's not.
Sorry about that, baby.
Mama, just cut the phone off. What are we doing? Okay.
I want to play my music.
You want the show to be about the people that hear the music? Okay, I won't say anything for the rest of the show. We just listen to it.
Lleva en su pensamiento todo mundo lleno de necesidad.
I'm sorry. This is bomba. This is our culture.
Yes. We just played a different type of that music in the Americas because just the influencers was a lot different. Puerto Rico had at least some knowledge of the Taino Indians when the Black Americans got here. Our ancestors didn't have. We just had the African influence. We didn't have any other influence until later on when we started intermingling with the Native Americans. And then we carried on from there. It's unfortunately that sometimes we lose communication with the older people in our families. And then there's the thing with the older people in our families not wanting to relive a lot of stuff.
They don't like to talk about pain.
And I think that's a problem in the Black and Latino community is that we lose our history because we choose not to speak about it. I was fortunate enough to have a mother and father that spoke about their history. But it never got beyond them. Wasn't necessarily close to, my grandmother had passed away way before I was even born, my mother's mother. My father's mother had her own issues, as did most of Black American people's grandparents. They went through so much, and it was so traumatic for them that it took me forever to even figure out the history of Black people in this country anyway, because they don't teach it in school. You don't learn that in school. What you do is you do your research now, and I'm 61 years old, and I found out a lot. I'm still finding out so much stuff that I would have never been aware of if I weren't able to access.
Like what? Stuff like what?
Stuff like, what was we watching? We were watching something about what happened down in Florida. What's the name of the town?
That's some serious
O.C.?
I didn't know anything about that place.
How do you pronounce that town?
I think it was called...
It's a native word, but down in Central Florida.
Ocoee?
Ocoee.
Ocoee.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Yeah, definitely. Look that up. And
that was
go to YouTube. YouTube will show
massacre.
you. Yeah, massacre.
And I do apologize if I'm saying it incorrectly.
It is. It will. And if you, I think a lot of people are familiar with Rosewood, Florida, and because it was a movie, they made a movie out of it. So, but that wasn't the only case. And then there was the other one that was in Middle America, some kind of massacre that happened out there. And these are the things that you don't learn in school. These are the things that sometimes even your own parents are not aware of because they were so busy. You got to realize too, our parents and grandparents were so damn busy trying to survive. They didn't even have time or the resources to do research to find out certain things, and was never told to us because they didn't know.
Well, I grew up with some people that liked to bochinchar. So instead of bochinchando, they should have just learned the history so that they could teach me where I came from.
Yeah. But that's our job now, I think,
Anyways.
I actually think that's just our job now as parents and as grandparents to teach. And it's harder now to teach because there's so many other distractions that kids want to do. But you have got to take moments out of your day if you know certain things that is important in your history. And I don't mean your history per se you, but your history as Puerto Ricans, as blacks, as people from African heritage, right? And I always got to emphasize this. African heritage. And it has completely nothing to do with your relationship or what you think your relationship is to the continent of Africa, because that's been decades and decades and decades removed from our psyche. But it also gives us, as people from the islands, as people from the United States and some places in South America, it also gives us a sense of who we are.
Yeah. But right now, this precise moment, we have so many young kids out there, young adults, who want to know about their history. They want to know their nationality. They want to know what is the language that, the language that they come from, you know. Because majority, we moved to New York. Well, I can only speak for myself. When I moved to New York, and I'm sure you have. My point is that
I was born in New York.
Yeah, you was born in New York, and so was I.
Yeah, so you didn't move to it. Your family did.
Yeah, but it's kind of.
That's like my family.
But I lived in Puerto Rico. Then we moved back to New York.
But you were born in New York, which
I
means
know
your
I
family
was-
moved there before
I
you
know I
were
was born in New York. I know. What I'm trying to say is, I lost my thought.
You're talking about language.
See,
Okay, since you
this
did
is
that,
what happens when you get older.
Okay, let me
get
put it to
brain
you this way.
farts.
I said this before too, is that we are so enamored with the fact that we can speak a language that is not ours. And no matter where you come from, unless you're from a country like Europe, if you're English, if you are Italian, if you are Greek, if you are any place where you can track your history back to that country and you speak that language, right? Then that's a great thing. The common denominator between people from Latino countries and black people from the Americas, right, is that we speak a language that is not ours. We have no idea. There are very few people from the islands that speak Taino, which is your original language. There are very few people in the Americas as black people who speak perfect African language.
Yeah, I'm going to be that parent to say, I apologize to all my children for not teaching them the proper language.
You don't know how to speak.
It's funny now,
your
but it's
original
serious. This is serious because, and then again, it's not my fault. It's not my fault.
But
Because my parents didn't teach me nothing.
But think
So
about
I
that.
had
Now,
to-
what language are you talking about, that, Mom?
I'm talking about the language of Taino, Pa. I don't.
You wouldn't know how to speak that. Your
No,
parents
of course
wouldn't know
not,
how either.
Because, and my parents didn't know any. And then my parents' parents didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I don't know. Because again, it's so sad that I have no idea.
That is
No idea.
That is sad. But think about how
Of
sad.
how to speak Taino.
But think about how sad that is. Like I said before, right? If you're from Europe, if you're from Africa, if you're from anywhere, Russia, whatever, you can speak Russian because that's your language. That's your language. That's yours to hold on to, right? That's your thing, right? Latino people, right? And black people, we have no idea how to speak where our ancestors came from. We just don't.
Because again, it wasn't taught to us.
It couldn't have been taught to us unless our ancestors held on to it. They were not allowed to hold on to it because they couldn't. They had to communicate with the people who owned us. You understand? And as far as Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic and the Caribbean itself, be it the Tainos or the Caribbean, what's the other natives? Caribe.
the
Caribe, right?
Caribbean.
Yeah.
Talking about the Caribbean.
There's
people?
there was two natives, right? And God, please smack me if I keep calling them Indians, right?
They're not.
They're not Indians. The only Indians there are the people that come from Pakistan and India.
Okay, let's
Those
not
are
go there.
Indians.
Okay, let's not go
No, because I'm gonna lose my mind.
Let's not go there.
Right? Yet we are still. And I'm gonna tell you how weird that is. We are so.
Here we go.
We are so taught to call natives, even in America. We're taught because of the stupid cowboy
I think that
movies,
is so disrespectful.
right?
I just don't.
We
get that.
call Native Americans. We don't even know what Native Americans really are.
It's like, what is that? Why
don't
do
even know
we
what they
keep
are.
hearing that? I don't want to hear that stuff. I want to be able to know that we can talk about, I have to admit, I will admit that I have no idea, and I'm a parent. I'm 50 years old, I have no idea. And it's sad because we have grown adults. And what we love is we like to let them know, hey, this is where you come from. This is where I was, we could talk about our history. I could talk about my childhood with my kids because I'm open. I want to be dramatic, like somebody said. So, thank you for that. Thank you so much. I love you for telling me that. So, it's so important that we gotta learn our history. We have to talk about it. We gotta be able to embrace these beautiful young people who are finally asking these questions because it's coming out. Where we have these young kids, young adults who can speak that language because now they're studying it. Now they're able to understand the language. And apparently we just spoke with these two beautiful girls, Jasenia and Selena. One from California and the other beautiful girl from North Carolina, she said?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. And so we're going to have them on our TV shows, Spoken Voices, that airs on Channel 192 Mondays at 8:30 and Sunday at 5:30 here in Connecticut.
Western Connecticut.
All part of Western Connecticut.
And we also put it on YouTube too.
Yeah, because for those people who can't get the channel, but I want to inspire people who have voices. We want to be those people to help our community here, to help our people, to know that, hey, we still exist, and so.
Emphasize this enough that one of the greatest things in life to me, and one of the biggest injustice for us as Black and Latino people, is that we have to search so hard to find out our history. Our history has been misconceived, lied to. We've been lied to. We've been basically forced to do things that we didn't want to do, that wasn't in our DNA. But now is the time. In 2022, we have so many young people that are basically looking and diving deeper into their culture, their heritage, and whatnot. If you look at the music that we play and how the young people are embracing, when you ask most intelligent people from the islands and from the United States, what is the DNA that runs through all of the music that we play, who we are as people, it all goes back to Africa. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. It goes because it's in our DNA. It's how our ancestors communicated with one another. By the time the islands was ravaged and how our ancestors were killed in the islands, most of the Taino history was disappeared. They disappeared with the death of a whole group of people. So what happened when they dropped off the slaves, now the slaves' influence, that African influence had taken hold. So in order for us to communicate, we had to use music because there was a lot of tribes from Africa that didn't speak the same language too. So we communicated through music, and we did the same thing in the Americas too. we are the most, right, to me, saddest. And it doesn't have to stay sad. I mean, it's just sad. Our history is sad because we were taken or killed to basically assimilate ourselves into another culture.
And you know, it's funny.
That is insane.
Nobody talks about it.
No.
I mean, I'm just, again, people, and I keep saying this, it's our opinion. I know I haven't heard anything about it. I've never studied it in school.
No.
Never did.
No.
You know, I mean, again.
And our grandkids won't either.
No. Unless we open the doors for them and we teach them.
And we make
Them.
the educational system teach history.
Yeah. It's
You know.
important, people, because, and we're just not, we don't exist. We just don't, you know. But this Latina is going to put it all out there because I think we should talk about these things. You know? We should be able to talk about pain. I love talking about pain because guess what? It makes me feel happy, you know.
Of course.
I feel consciously, I'm so happy because I'm able to express myself, and I've always been that way since I was a little girl, you know. And I'm so thankful for that, you know. And also I love encouraging young adults, you know. It's been all my life. Just try to, instead of the negative stuff, let's focus on what you can do, you know. Focus on what's going to help you feel happy, you know. And I'm so happy and so proud to be that person, you know.
Well, you have to be, because if you're not going to teach...
I say that for a reason, because it's sad that we got family members that we don't even...
We don't. See, but the thing is, too, we got to stop doing that.
No, but listen to me. You're not going to let me say something. And what I'm trying to say is this. We have to understand what families are putting, what they're putting out there, okay? A lot of parents, you got to understand something. The reason why you don't communicate or there's no relationship is because there's no communication.
Yeah.
That's my point.
But
I'm not talking about the toxic family. I'm talking about families who are not able to sit down with their children and say, hey, this is where I came from. Let me take you to Puerto Rico. Or this is where I came from. Let me bring you to Dominican Republic. And I love the Dominican because I know they do talk about their family and they embrace their culture. But I'm talking about just the ones that...
Let me tell you something. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Let me tell you something. I've seen in my lifetime, from being from New York City, right? I've seen Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans hate one another, right? I've seen Dominicans, Cubans, and Puerto Ricans hate black people, right? Have this serious disregard, this serious dislike
For one
another,
Right.
right?
And that we stay away from.
And definitely. And the thing is with that is that it's almost like hating yourself, right? When a black person, a Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cuban, Jamaican, Trinidadian, when you hate another person that fucking looks like you, right? And if they don't look like you, they look like somebody in your family. Looks exactly like you. That's self-hate.
Well, I'm sorry.
That's self-hate.
There are family members, again, which I will talk about, or even your co-workers. Everywhere you go in the world, you're gonna experience something. Somebody don't like you because your hair is kinky.
But that is something that has to be eliminated, right?
You don't have to tolerate that.
It has to be eliminated in your own home. If your kid comes home and says, well, somebody said this about me, or somebody said this, right? You have to reinforce in that child a sense of self, a sense of who they are.
Right.
And to give a child a sense of who they are, you got to tell them where they came from, what history they had, what history, not only in your family, but the history of their people. The connection they have with people that they don't know. If you tell me, if you had told me when I was young, do you realize that your DNA as someone who is a descendant from an African person, do you know that DNA is all over the world? Do you realize that they can't minimize you? You cannot be minimized because of the color of your skin.
Okay.
Right? If a child knows that, then the pride that they have within themselves will be passed down. Think of all the other cultures besides us, right? That has these great feelings about one another. Oh, the Irish. Oh, the Italians. I'm Italian. I come from such and such place over in Italy, right? Who can't do that?
Okay.
We can, right? But we can tell each other what our great history is and whatnot. We are a great people.
Yes.
We're just a splintered people.
Okay, let me just be the bad one here. So when you went to high school, were you ever bullied? I mean, did you ever experience anything, any racist or anybody
I went
you?
to, in grade school, up until 6th grade, I went to all-white school in East Haven, Connecticut,
Okay.
right? I had one person call me a nigger,
Oh,
right? I guarantee
that's too deep.
why is that too deep?
Go ahead, let me hear your story.
I had a kid call me a nigger, right? Billy Souter, little blonde-head little boy.
You remember his name?
Billy Souter.
Wow.
Little German prick. Right? I beat the shit out of him. Know why I beat the shit out of him?
Well, you still know his name, so.
Because it was a good feeling whipping his ass. It was a sense of who I was that was given and passed down to me from my mother and father.
So you was teaching him respect.
Yeah. You call somebody else that. I'm very sure that probably was the last time he said it out loud and whatnot. And I was never bullied in school. Other than that's not bullying, that's just calling somebody a name. No, I was never bullied in school. Know why? I had a sense of pride of who I was. As a human being. Not as anybody that I would never thought I was better than anybody else. I just had a good feeling because of my parents. And this is the thing that people seem to not understand. And this is what some parents, some grandparents don't get. Some uncles and aunts, right? When you can send your child out into the world feeling good about themselves and not better than anybody, but feeling good about themselves, you do your child such a good service because they will not allow, they don't have to beat nobody's ass, but they would not allow to be talking down to
Okay,
or disrespected.
But you're not going to tell your kid, because I know somebody who did this. If anybody disrespect you, you're going to put a fist in their face.
No, I tell my kids, don't let nobody beat you. Don't let nobody hit you without hitting them back. Because you're a fool if you tell your kids, oh, if someone hits you, get into a fetal position and let them continually whip your ass.
All right.
Then that's being a bad parent too. They can hurt your kid.
Okay.
Fight back.
Now, during this time, it's horrible because these kids. But
that's totally.
We don't want to talk about anything negative. My thing is that we just want to be able to how to be good people. And you're always gonna have those other people who want to bully them or want to, I don't know, say certain things that is not even nice, not even polite. And it's just so hard right now.
You know what I think too, this is what's got to happen. We've got to stop being, and I say this all the time, we got to stop being gentle.
Why? What's wrong with gentle?
Not about everything. I'm serious. Not about everything, right? We tend to tiptoe around. I'm telling you right now, it's a problem with Black and Latino people for the most part, right? We tiptoe around shit, because we don't want to get in trouble. We don't want people to look at us differently. We want to be accepted, a lot of us, right? We want to be accepted into mainstream America, right? We don't want to talk about our history. We don't want to, hurt nobody's feelings and stuff. And at some point, we need to stop and it's not good to be prideful in a negative way.
It comes from the home, honey.
Right. It's not good to be prideful in a negative way. But it's good to have pride in who you are. Know what that makes you do? That makes you do good stuff.
Yeah, but it comes from the home.
Yes, but listen, it makes you do good things. It keeps you on a positive journey when you feel good about oneself. Where you came from, who you are, what is the accomplishments that people that look like you have done to contribute to society, to the world? When you have that inside of you, then you say, if you're smart, what can I do? Right? What can I do to contribute to this society in a positive way? If you have no sense of who you are, if you're constantly trying to assimilate and to be someone else, right? Not knowing the music, boomba, or the African heritage that we all have, right? When you don't have that, when you try to deny it, what are you constantly trying to do? There's always a conflict within you, right? There's that conflict of saying, okay, when I'm around my boys or my people, I'm going to be that. But when I'm around somebody else, I'm going to deny it. I'm going to slip into that acceptance role as a person and not feel like if someone says, oh, those people, and you sign off on that too. I don't know what's wrong with my people.
I think
I don't know what's wrong with them.
the association, because you come across, like the young generation, they hang with their little clique, and there's they want to be like them. So I don't know, I don't know that generation anymore. It's just I just embrace what I'm trying to do, and I'm also embracing my family, and we also want to embrace, we're so concerned about our young kids, our young generation. We try to give them love. We have to encourage them. We have to help them, and of course we want to motivate them. But we try to stay motivated. So we gotta do what we gotta do. But yeah.
I'm always, I'm always motivated for something positive. Positivity motivates me. Negativity, people would take negativity as someone saying something that is contrary to the popular belief, right? If you're saying something, if you're reaching out to people and our people to teach our history, a lot of people are like, oh, come on, get over it, right now. Yo, you know what? And I'm gonna tell you something, right? It's never told to get over the fact that, if we look at the stuff that has happened to Black Americans and what happened in Ponce, Puerto Rico, and what happened in the Dominican Republic, the revolutions, and how we had to fight for our freedom, all of us. We're told, on a whole, right? Let that go. Let that go. Why do you still talk about these things? That was 400 years ago.
Yeah, just like what we learn in school. What we learn in school that they keep repeating.
Everything.
Hey, okay.
Everything, the Civil War and all that
yes,
stuff, right?
And they keep repeating that. So why can't we talk about our history?
Because for some reason, we're not allowed to. At the end of the day, right, they look at us not like they look at Jewish people and say when they're talking about the Holocaust. We should never forget that. That was horrific.
This is what
It was horrible,
yeah,
right? But people don't want, especially Americans. Americans hate talking about the number one sin of this country, which was slavery. They don't want to talk about it. I guarantee I can go to Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Cuba, and any other place in the Caribbean. They don't talk about it at all. They very seldom talk about the fact that there were slaves in those countries.
Yeah, I think
it's crazy, but we should talk about it.
Yeah,
not have it as an anchor around our neck, not making us do positive things, but it's part of a history. We can talk about Christopher Columbus being a complete idiot, right? Yeah. And lost, right? But we can't talk about certain things because it makes people uncomfortable. Yeah. You're supposed to be uncomfortable.
I think, I always look at it this way, babe. The Bible is there for a purpose. Only for those who believe in the Bible, people, please, because I know religious stuff is very, very touchy and nobody wants to talk about it. But I'll make it really simple. The Bible got history. The Bible is there so we can learn the history of all of these apostles, and all of the prophets, right? It's there for a reason. It's there to teach us. It's there for us to understand why certain things are happening. So if we can do that, I know definitely we could talk about our history. That's how I see it.
Of course.
Because, we need to learn and we need to to understand, for example, a certain personality. You know, you want to know their DNA and you want to know where it came from. You know, I'm laughing, but it's true, people.
Of course.
Because sometimes you got to look beyond that person's personality and say, okay, let's see what DNA this person has, because this person has nothing related to me. You know, these are things that that I see, and if you have that open mindedness, and if you have that you know, sometimes you gotta look at yourself, and I've learned to forgive myself. You know, somebody told me that you gotta learn how to forgive yourself. You open up to so many different possibilities. You know, you open up more. You just feel so good about certain things. Excuse me. So anyway, yeah, and I think that it's important that we help and not just talk about pain, but yeah, learn the history, and then say, okay, what can I do better? You know, what can I do to make it better?
Well,
you know?
think about it. If we talk about what really happened to us as a people, and look how far we have progressed, wouldn't that give somebody the idea that I can do anything?
Yes.
If my ancestors have progressed from being owned by other people, as a human being, being owned by another people, how the hell can you not look at how far we have progressed and say, first of all, it'll never happen again, because we won't let it, right? And saying there's nothing I can't accomplish. How can you not teach your children about the history of their ancestors? And then your child look at you and say, wow, we've come a long way. We've persevered. We've overcome. By the grace of God, we are still here, right? Then we should teach that. And you know what, at the end of the day, even if your ancestors were slave owners, right? And you have no inclination to own another human being, wouldn't that be great to teach your kids?
Yeah.
Say, great-great-great-grandfather such and such owned people, right? But look at us now. You know, my best friend is a black man, right? So if you're a white child, you go, hey, and you have a white child, you can tell a kid, look, this is what happened, and this is the atrocities that happened, and even your ancestors was a part of it. But we no longer feel this way. We no longer are that type of person. Don't you think what good that does to that child?
Yes, it does.
Where he starts looking at everybody as, you're no different than me. You just look different, right? And that's the thing I'm talking about. So when I'm telling you guys not to teach history, I'm talking about not just us as black and Latino people. I'm talking about white people too. Teach your history. Show them the bad things. I tell my kids mostly any bad thing that I have done. Know why? Because if I tell them what I've done and they see me as I am today, is that a way to tell them, well, I'm not going to do that, but damn, Dad, you did that and you made it?
Yeah, but you
made it through?
telling them story. You know.
But you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Right, you understand, right? If you can be honest, if you can be an honest person and tell who you really are.
Yeah, but you can't tell the kids everything, because they'll be like, yo, they're gonna come back at you and say, wait a minute, Daddy, you didn't allow me to do this, but you did this?
Yeah, but they also will look at you and say, Mom, Dad, wow,
I know.
y'all went through that and you guys made it. You know what that makes them think too? There's no way I can't do something.
Well, we're not perfect people. We're all gonna make
that has nothing to do with what I'm saying though. What I'm saying is that if you can show the flaws that you have,
yes,
even as a country,
you talk to them,
right? Even if you can show them, put that in front of them, the flaws that we have as human beings, and how we have progressed and left those flaws behind and became better people because of our flaws, right? What a great country this would be. As opposed to holding on and hiding the things that were not great. You know what I'm saying? That would be the greatest thing, and that means as a country and as an individual too, and as families. Everyone needs to show the scars that we carry with us. Because if I'm showing you something and I'm in a better place, shit, as a child, you better look at that and go, well, if my dad and my mom can do that, I can do better.
Yep. Yes, people. just gonna go off, but you know, just gonna edit. I'll edit this. So, my people, yeah, there's so many things to talk. I don't know how the time goes by too quick. It does. It goes by too quick. You know. So.
Mom would like us to. Mom would like me to be more butterfly and rainbow type things. I'm sorry, that's not my personality, guys. I think you can probably figure that out now. I'm a realist. I live in the real world. And I know that everything, yeah, I know you, I see you making faces and whatnot. I have to be able to be an honest broker for you all and for myself and for everybody that I know. And I try to be that for you all.
This portal.
Black.
And my husband, Domino Effect Podcast. It's a podcast to express our feelings, to show our appreciation, and be able to say, hey, I'm proud being a Puerto Rican. Okay? Anyway, con mucho amor y respeto. That's all I'm saying. We talk about certain things that we don't want to talk about.
I love talking.
So, anyway, baby.
I'm an ass.
So you ready to go?
Ready to go.
Okay, guys. Thank you for listening to us. Portal Black Domino Effect is saying have a great weekend. Because, oh my God, is it Friday or Saturday?
Saturday, and it's hot.
Saturday, yeah. Okay, I gotta go back to my edit days.
She'll be editing for the next 2 days. Thank you very much.
You get lost when you do that.
Oh yeah.
A little bit of bomba because I love this song.
Take it easy.
This is a CD from Lamento Puerto Ricano, right? Puerto Ricano. From
Bonita.
William Sepulveda. Yeah. People, please learn your history. Learn about bomba. Learn about your heritage. Embrace it, you know.
Yep.
And you know, just help your young ones, you know, because too many of us, we keep this inside of us and we don't want to talk about it. And we need to just talk about the positive stuff, you know. I mean, if there's pain, there's pain. You gotta let that out. Let it out, people, because you know we got grandfathers and grandmothers and aunts and uncles not talking to each other. Maybe you learn something. I wonder why, you know.
Yep.
But we need to, you know, let that out, you know.
Yep.
Okay. Hasta la vista, baby.
Later. Thank you. Huh?
Yeah, you're good.
I was just looking.
See, I direct. I can't deal with technology. I like bossing people around.
Yeah. The thing is, right?